Hello, everybody, and welcome to another installment of our Southern California first-time buyer market update. My name is Stephen Meade. I'm your host with Domicile Real Estate, where we are on a mission to help California's renters become homeowners, a mission that does seem to get a little harder every single day, but we do, in fact, love a challenge. You know, we're nearing the end of the year, right? We only have maybe, I think I mapped out, I believe we have 2 videos left because we're going to go to the 24th and the 31st. We might change up the days on those a little bit because they both fall on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. But one of the things that I want to do and that I've been thinking a lot about, and I want to actually make this good, is I think for our next video, we're going to do a list of the top 5 things that buyers should be preparing if they hope to purchase a home in 2022. But until then, we're going to go over the stats and I'm going to set up a little bit about what I think is going to happen and kind of what we're seeing out there. We've had a couple of weeks where the stats have been very influenced by holiday periods, and that can kind of skew the results sometimes. And this is really the first week where we've had no real holiday effect kind of on that data. So I want to jump into that and kind of go through what we're seeing, how it compares to where we were this time last year, and then what we can expect for the spring, which I think is kind of important. So let's start off and talk about prices, about our first quartile prices. I think you guys have seen this pretty frequently. This is our graph where you see we had a big run up in prices in the spring and then things leveled out a little bit as we went through here. Last week they upticked a little bit. Our condo market is at a little bit more of a linear progression on price. Now, just as a reminder, the blue line is our entry-level single-family home. That will be a 3-bedroom, 2-bath detached property at the 25th percentile pricing or first quartile. And the red line is an entry-level condo, which is 2-bedroom, 2-bath attached property in that first quartile or 25th percentile price point. This is for Los Angeles and Orange County. So as you can see, we had some upticks here. Just remember, this data is 4 to 6 weeks old. It is based on contracts or properties that are closing this week, which means they were negotiated 4 to 6 weeks ago. You know, if we come here and we look at total monthly payment, we just crested $4,100. As a reminder, you know, the whole idea of doing this and giving these payment numbers was to be realistic. I think most of my first-time home buyers would absolutely love it if they were putting 20% down, but the reality is that's not most of you. If that is you, congratulations, you're very lucky. Most of our buyers are looking at 5% down. So we decided to build our modeling off of that, 5% down, including any mortgage insurance, property taxes, and we even include an HOA fee in the case of our condo. So we end up just over $4,100 for our entry-level single-family home, and then just over $3,150 for our entry-level condo. I still think that these numbers are doable for a portion of working Californians, especially when you consider household income. And in fact, what do those household incomes need to be? Well, this is assuming no other debts. At a minimum, this is how much your household income needs to be in order to qualify for these payments. Just about $101,000 here in our entry-level single-family home category and $77,000 in our entry-level condo category. I'm going to switch gears here as we do, right? I think there's always 2 components, right, when you're looking at buying a house: affordability and prices, right, is on one hand. And then on the other side here, we're looking at what is the availability of housing. I think that's really where our focus has generally been the last 2 years since we've been doing these videos. Bear in mind that could change, but I don't see it changing in the short term. But, you know, if we go through here and we start to take a look at our availability, I think that's really where you see where the problem is. So here's where our absorption rates are, right? You know, we actually dropped last week to 90% and 104%. But look what happened. We've hit back over 100% for our entry-level single-family homes, and we have gone towards gosh, we are heading towards 125% for our entry level condos. And what does this mean? It means that buyers are absorbing properties much faster than they are coming on to the market. And that, as you might imagine, has a deleterious effect on inventory, which we're going to look at in a second. But I want to draw your attention and look backwards to where were we towards the end of the year. Well, we had high numbers towards the end of last year as well, right? And this is normal as we head towards this time of the year. Sellers don't want to put their houses on the market. That's not unusual. Buyers are a little bit more likely, especially in a low inventory environment, to keep looking and keep wanting to buy. But we're seeing these numbers are even worse than they were last year. And that's really a theme that we're seeing. Here's our total inventory graph. I was going to change the range on this for effect, but I actually kind of like seeing that it even disappears, right? We don't even know how low our entry level condo inventory is. And look at where we were back in December, right? Like, yes, we saw diving demand, but look at even as we started last year, right? We started last year with probably about 1,300 condos available. We are well below 1,000 at this point. This represents in that entry level, that critical entry level price category, that means we are over 30% below where we were at this point last year. I'm going to repeat that, 30% below where we were at this point last year. Now, if we look at our entry-level single-family home, that is, a little bit better. If we go back here, we were maybe right around 1,250 towards the end of 2020, and we are right at about 1,000, so we're about 25% under where we were at this point last year for our entry-level single-family homes. These are really pretty abysmal numbers, and I think I want people to understand that this lack of inventory doesn't show any signs of changing. That doesn't mean it can't change. That doesn't mean it won't change. But I don't see anything on the immediate horizon that suggests that. If we look at our 14-day still active percentage, this looks at everything that came on the market in the last 14 days and what percentage are left. So when this number dives, it means people are snapping up those recent listings. And that means our market is getting more competitive. And look at where these numbers are. These are starting to look more like those late spring numbers and not that summer fall numbers that we normally have. I think that's really important because if we go back here, look at where these numbers were at the beginning of this year. I cannot emphasize enough how much different this is than last year. The shape of the curve is the same, but the severity is different. Moving on to our final chart here, our weeks supply of homes. Now, you might be asking, what is the difference between weeks supply of homes and total inventory? And this is the short answer. Total inventory is a static number, right? It just says we have X homes available that are active on the market to pick from. But weeks supply of homes indexes that number of homes. So it indexes or makes it relative to how fast are homes getting snapped up on the market. And, really, this is the graph that just hits it home for me. So here we are towards the end of 2021, and we have 3.99 weeks of condo inventory available. And look at where we were last year, over double the amount of relative inventory, over double. Now, looking down here at our entry-level single-family home, we are at 2.91 weeks, right? Fewer than 3 weeks of inventory. The last time we saw any numbers like that was in that late spring. And look at where we were at the end of last year. We were at just under 5 weeks of inventory at the beginning of 2021, towards that end of 2020, beginning of 2021 time period. And look at where we are now. I think when you're a first-time buyer, there's this temptation that you always think if you don't like the market, wait and it will get better. And I feel like anybody who has been waiting all 2021 for a better market has really come up short, right? They've really been disappointed. They haven't seen those results like they thought they would. And, I feel for you to me, I think this is the time period where if you are a buyer out there in the marketplace, if I were a buyer out in the marketplace, right, a first-time home buyer, I would treat looking for a home like a second job. I'd be like, this is something important for my financial future, and I feel the need to treat this seriously. And additionally, little plug here: hire a serious professional agent. Um, it's possible that your friend who just got her real estate license might be a really good agent. But unless she's being mentored by somebody who's really good, that's not a risk I would take in this kind of a market. I think you need somebody with a little bit more experience in that, and someone who can treat this with the attention that it deserves. That's how I would do it if I were a first-time home buyer in this market. I'd be like, I'm going to set up my parameters. I'm going to be out there. I'm going to look at everything that comes up. I'm going to be open to different things, and I'm going to be ready to make my move when that right property comes up. Anyhow, thank you guys for watching. We're going to do our top 5, I think, before the end of the year for first-time home buyers. That was a little taste there. Questions, comments, as always, we love them. And if you or someone you know should be a homeowner in 2022, absolutely reach out to us. We would love to work with you. There is a link down below if you're watching this on YouTube where you can schedule a 15-minute, no cost, no obligation call with us. We'd love to chat with you. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell so you will hear about our new videos when they come out. Thank you so much, everybody. We will see you again next week.